Hello everybody, this is Death, sharing with you the first part of a project I've been working on for some time. Probably the biggest build I've ever done, and I'm trying to record it all and bring it to you. This is built on the PS4 with no mods whatsoever, only using standard game with DLC components. So this lighthouse here I've built at Longfellow's Cabin as part of the Far Harbor DLC. And I'm hoping to show you guys just how that works. Hope you enjoy. Please feel free to follow if you like it. Hit the thumbs up. Subscribe to Death, or I'm also on Twitter at _Odeath. So what we're going to start with is the base of our tower here. In specific, we're going to be making a round floor. I first saw this technique a long time ago, and then I was recently reminded of it. I think it was Wasteland Dovahkiin, hopefully I'm saying that right, who kind of refreshed my memory on it. Later on in the video, you're going to see that I also kind of borrowed, maybe stole, I'm sorry, a bit more of an idea that she had as well. It kind of inspired me to want to actually build this. I had been suggested by one of my streaming viewers to build a lighthouse one day, and I just didn't feel that I had the right parts to do so. Right parts, the right inspiration, the right know-how. I mean, there was a lot of different stuff that kind of made me question what I wanted to do. And at first it was like, yeah, that could be all right, but I didn't want to use the round concrete pieces, and so this kind of inspired my thought process and started making me wonder if, in fact, I could do this. So we're just going to put all these together. I'm trying to line them up across the circle to the one opposite them. I don't know if you can see that very well or not, but this was the best way I could come up with to try to do this damn thing. I'm sure there are better options, but for me, this is what worked. So once you get your pieces mostly together like this, you should have a nice, I guess, hexagon in the center. And I had thought at first I might just be able to use the wood pieces and try to bridge it together, but it wasn't going to work. So we went with plan B over here. I'm going to start using this concrete pillar to put these pieces into the middle. Now, you might be wondering about this platform that I'm sitting on. This is something that you're going to see the use for here in a few minutes, but yeah, I didn't quite like that one. My circle wasn't quite right. I didn't like the way the edges came together, so we're going to decide to move that one real quick. But this platform serves a purpose, and once again, whether it's the most concise way to do things, I'm not entirely sure, but this is what made sense to my brain. So we're going to use it from a leveling perspective. Oops, too close there. Let's move that away. There you go. The multi-select to grab hold of these individual pieces with a pillar. The pillar will sink through this section of warehouse floor and allow you to place these with relative success. And all you really want to do is, I'm just trying to get my corners close together to try to make this kind of as solid of an object as I can. And then we're going to do another one of these here, and then we'll speed the video up so that you can just get right to the good stuff. But we'll be back with you in a second. Okay, we're back at it. So here we have our circle. We're going to get to the floor here in a minute, but I'm going to take these half walls for the concrete and slap them around the outside like this. As we go around, you might notice there are slight cracks on the corners. We'll get to how to fix those in just a couple of minutes. But yeah, there you can see that it's all pretty much gaps and hopefully fairly even. I had a moment ponderance here, trying to figure out exactly what I was gonna, or how I was going to pursue this next. So originally I had built a second floor platform, fought a whole bunch of extra crap there, but it turned out to be unnecessary in the long run, so I didn't want to waste any of this video time on it. It was already long enough, so I figured what I'd do is I'd just drop these floors out, get this platform out of the way, and I'd move on to the next step. So here we've got our lower section, and this is really the reason this platform exists at all, is that it gives us a nice even surface for what's to come. Here I found that the way to get rid of this awkward gap in the middle was to use, the game didn't want to allow anything into that corner based on the way it likes to snap items together. But if you take one of these little pieces of floor and put a pillar up against it like that, one of these steel pillars out of the warehouse section, basically it clipping to the piece of floor kind of overrides the collision of it not wanting to work with up above. You have a little bit of almost a priority, for lack of a better term. And this is just showing you how I'm just adjusting it a little bit further in and trying to find that perfect spot where hopefully we can get that to just about disappear into the corner. I'm pretty happy with that one, so that's probably about as good as we're going to get on most of these before the clipping really kills us and we're not able to actually put them in there. So we're going to move along here and put a second one of these on. This one actually goes much, much quicker for us, and then we're going to just zip right along to the completed end of this. See that one right there? I got it lined up right, and it was done. Okay, so this is what it looks like after they are all done and installed. And now we're going to be trying to add a little height to this. The concrete itself wants to snap, hopefully, to each other. There's only going to be one spot, I think, where I have difficulty with that. The pillars are interfering, but otherwise, once again, its system is going to allow it to take care of itself, clip everywhere. And these pillars, although the metal pillars, that is, as we go along here, we're going to be finding that they get moved and removed a number of times. But as long as you always have a section left to clip to, above or below, then you will always be in good shape. Hopefully that makes any kind of sense. Let's see here, where are we going next? So I'm trying to figure out what the right order of things is here, and we're going to go through this really quick. Swapping out these pillars. I'm trying to get the right height for things. And I said that the platform system mattered because, as you can see here, the place that we decided they were going to clip is going to decide how tall this is at the end of the build. Getting all those damn things out of the way. Zip, zip, zip. There we go. Like I said, you just want to make sure you don't screw yourself up and ever get rid of one of the pillars. You just want to have something to clip to. But now that that's done, we're going to start working on the top part of this. And I do say the top because that's kind of what this has to be. To build this successfully, I truly had to build it from the top down, not the bottom up, which was how I approached it the first time I tried this. So we're going to be attempting a floor in the center of that, and end up not liking it, not liking my option. I think maybe I just gave up a little too quick on it. But ultimately I decided to go with concrete. I like that better. Now here you see me having a bit of a trouble because the piece that I wanted to clip to, I couldn't clip a wall to it, and for a second I panicked until I realized I can clip to the floor and then clip to the concrete wall. It's all a question of build order. So with this wooden floor here, it just wasn't working out very well. I think I realized later that it had to do with the way I was selecting this item. I didn't understand at the time, and I thought I was just being a jerk. I probably could have done better, but it was a little late for that. So we've decided to just switch gears and go for something else. So here I'm getting into the concrete tab. I'm going to build a floor if I can get everything to clip right. And then we're going to instead put this metal floor in using the same technique. Raise it up. Make sure you're not too close to any other objects, otherwise you multi-select them as well. But we just got to get that close enough to the underside of that to grab it. And I'll go up my stairs here and drop it through the floor. And it is going to be slightly recessed, but based on where it's at in the tower, it doesn't really bother me. I don't mind. It seals it off pretty well. And here I'm just going to pull that pillar back out of the way, and we'll move on. Now we get to the point where I'm trying to figure out how the outside platform for the top of this lighthouse is going to work. And once again, I'm thinking about it just a little bit before I settle on this. I realize that we're going to clip in real easy. So we'll just take and slap these around the outside. These are just plain old wooden shack floors, the quarter tiles. And then just like we did on the... oh, actually, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. In order to work on these, instead of working up on a platform, we are going to do ourselves a favor. And now that everything is built and we have the height of those metal pieces decided, we can get rid of all this extra stuff that we used to build. And just take this concrete structure itself and, oh yeah, don't forget your quick saves. Take this concrete structure and move it around a little bit to be in a place where you can work with it. So now my platforms just got lowered down, and I can repeat the process that we did on the main floor to get all these ones around the outside. So we're just going to install a couple of these real quick and then move forward quickly. So give me just 1 minute. We'll be right back. So while we're clicking through that boring stuff, I just want to thank you guys again for sticking with me. Feel free to follow, like the video, would be wonderful, and share with your friends. As part of the Mad Queen Army, just remember, sharing is love. So here we have our finished platform. It's got all the extra segments on there. Some of them are a little bit high, a little bit low, but once again, we're going to be on top of a tower, and so I don't need this to be like 1,000% great. I will say that, you know, here I was trying to figure out what I was going to do with this tower. I'm like, okay, how do I do my rails? And I stepped back and I looked at that and I said, you know what, that looks like shit. Start over. So we scrapped that idea pretty fast. I was just thinking maybe I could just put the rails on it, but with the varied heights, the awkward overlapping, it just was a little too strange. So instead we're going to go for these ones, these round ones. They don't exactly fit the contour, but it's about as close as it's going to get. And by the time we get done, I had to kind of shift them around a little bit, but we got them pretty darn close, and I'm okay with that. Once again, saying it's going to be at the top. So now we're going to build the next section. And this is going to go back to something that I saw from Wasteland Dovahkiin. I have to admit, as you were building it, I was just sitting there at the screen saying, no, do it this way, do it this way. And then you finally kind of got around to it, and it's like, here we go. So what we've essentially got is a concrete platform that we're going to be installing these metal security doors, these screen doors into. For the type of build this is what I chose to pick. So we're going to take care of that real quick. So here we have all these security doors, and unless you're using mods, most of these you have to build them in a doorway, remove the doorway, and then you can relocate the door. And I've seen this technique used in just placing placing doors inside of houses that normally, in a door frame that won't accept a door kind of thing. And I'm just using this concrete pillar. I'm trying to get those corners to kind of match up. You got those little bits that you can see sticking out just of the round, and I'm trying to get them kind of uniform. I ended up not liking that particular door. It was a little bit low as well. So we're just trying to get it looking right on the bottom and going from there. So that looks pretty good. I think we're going to keep that. So we're going to slap a roof on this thing next. So just using those same circular top, we can do this. I experimented with putting something out of the warehouse tab in or the barn tab for a roof, and I ended up just not liking the look as much. Up ahead here also we're going to run into a bit of a problem. Immediately after I built this structure, I went and tried to install it onto the top of my building, but something went wrong with the recording and I ended up losing that. So unfortunately I don't have that section. Furthermore, once it was on top, I realized that it was actually kind of small for as big as the lighthouse is going to be. So I ended up basically redoing it into a taller section. We'll get to that in a minute. Now, this comes back around to what Dovahkiin did. She chose this file cabinet right here to cover it with lights and put it inside, and that was a brilliant move. Thank you very much for the inspiration. So using these lights is what I eventually came around to. It was a little bit of a different direction than what she had chosen. I just thought this gave me more light for where I was at. It's also more of a white light than yellow light. I think I liked it better for this precise build. So I've just skipped ahead to when this thing is just covered over. Not terribly pretty to look at by itself, but by the time it's lit and on top of the tower, you will never see it, truthfully. So I'm going to use a rug glitch here to drop this into the middle of this. I thought that was going to be my best plan. So I was trying to get it in there and centered and looking good. And by the time I'm satisfied with it, I decide, okay, let's pull my rug out. And it drops, and everything that was clipped to that cabinet disappears. So here we're going to do it again, and this time we're just not going to use a rug. It just moves in on its own. And it's functional. So I like that. Thank you very much, Wasteland Dovahkiin. I guess I did end up putting a roof on the top of that after all. I stand corrected. So there it is, too tall. It was kind of awkward to arrange, but I had to basically build two sections of the doors and two sections of cabinet and everything. And now we're going to get to the part where we're going to start getting a little more height on this building. Like I said, we're building it from the top down. So we'll just take care of that real quick. So we use the concrete pillar to bring that up just a little bit. And we're going to start pre-wiring this thing. I know that we're going to need the wire there eventually, and so I just figured this is the best time to do it. So we just take and slap those together real quick. Go back to these half walls, and like I said before, everything just snaps together so clean at this point. The setup on it was kind of a pain in the ass, but it's going to work out now. So we're going to raise this up, slap in some more walls, and we'll raise it up again. And now that we're got another two sections here, we're going to slap some more conduits together. That way, no matter what, we have wire running through. Now we're going to switch back over to our metal pillars, these supports, out of the warehouse tab, and just snap them through. Easy peasy. The finished look is starting to look pretty clean. It's a little repetitious as far as the concrete segments are concerned, but there's really not much I can do about that. Anybody out there building with mods, if you're using the concrete skins, maybe it would look different. But here we've got our completed tower. And it's after we get all the sections put in. Now we're going to try to install a floor that was built off camera a little while ago. I at first was going to try to treat it like a regular floor until I realized that clipping was really going to kill me. So I said, okay, let's take off the bottom section of the floor and we'll see if we can just slap it up the bottom here. And once again, no, no, no. Just doesn't fly. So I started to feel really discouraged that I was going to be able to use the inside of this until I started reconsidering my options. So as far as those options are concerned, I started thinking to myself about the floors snapping. And this one right here made me so happy when this started clicking together. I don't know why I hadn't considered it sooner, but for some reason it just never crossed my mind that this would be the way to do it. So we have to slap the concrete wall back in there. I was going to be trying to put in a doorway and access point, but here we go again with getting a new hole in the floor, or rather losing a hole in the floor, as the case may be. And it's starting to get a little bit late, so I seem to recall that after this we basically move on and get a new day to build with. But there we have it. Now we have a wooden floor, which is going to be kind of the main level of the cabin. And here we go again with the problem with the floors not clipping to the concrete, so we have to use the concrete to clip the concrete, or snap probably is a better word. We'll pull that back off, and now we have our doorway. I'm going to plan on putting a metal floor on that for access, and that takes us to the inside, where we're going to start experimenting on how to build in here. There was a lot of back and forth, good and bad. I was thinking the scaffolding at first might work out, and then I realized that maybe down the road it was going to be more trouble than it was worth. I mean, the scaffolding stairs, I tried to put the big section in, wouldn't clip for some reason. I don't know why that is. But by putting two small sections, in fact, for some reason it liked that instead of the one long one, then it couldn't. So I was just checking here, trying to see if I liked how the entrance was, trying to find if the stairs were too much in the way. No matter where they were going to be in the way. But I decided that was probably the thing I liked the best. So we tried to use these warehouse stairs next. And in a minute here, I'm going to realize that the warehouse pieces and the concrete pieces are in fact not the same height. So my stairs are currently taller than my floor, although I don't actually realize it just yet. So I was thinking about just zigzagging my way up to the top, and later on I'll end up changing this design up. But first things first, I got to get up here and realize that that in fact this is not such a great plan. And now that I am in fact using the inside of this, my wires are actually going to be a problem. If I'd have thought about it before and been able, known that I was going to be able to do this, I would have done the wires differently. I wouldn't have been fighting it during this this section here. But since I'd already had them built, I figured I had the need to keep using them and keep repairing them before I lost track of them or something went sideways on me. I don't know. So I like the overall shape of it. I like the idea, the 3 levels. But then we find out that these stairs are, just like I said, they're too tall. And that's not going to work out. So we'll end up switching those over to wooden doorways, or excuse me, wooden stairways, and everything will work out better. But then we start looking at what it's going to take to make this space more functional. And it turns out that the scaffolding is actually not my best option. I end up going back to just plain wooden shack floors, because the clipping on these ones, for some reason they were giving me a bunch of trouble. But we're going to end up replacing every piece of this flooring with regular shack floor and rebuilding half of the place. There's just some issues that I couldn't get around with the scaffolding. It had to be something with the way that they build, something with the way they click. I'm going to take the opportunity real quick to say thanks for sticking with me. Feel free to hit me up on Twitter, jpeg_odeath, or hit that subscribe button. Let's keep this community rolling. Once again, with problems with the wires. I hadn't anticipated that early on, but something we had to deal with. So I'm using the wire glitch to get through those floors, by the way. Grabbing hold of the wire just at the conduit and taking it there down to the next spot. So this is after a while, after I replaced all the floors and tried to make some functional spaces. I ended up able to use some metal grating to give us a little extra floor space, and you'll see that in the final walkthrough. I don't think we spent a lot of time on that right now, but it gives us a little more room to work. So we're just going to take this one little opportunity here, put a couple finishing touches on the outside of this thing. As I'm putting those pillars up, they're just snapping them to the others. Wanted to thank you all for hanging with me for a little bit. This exact video is about to come to an end. We are going to make a part 2 very soon, as soon as I can basically get my butt down to finish the editing of it. And we're going to get this moved to its final location, decorated, and have some walkthroughs. We're going to put a little bit of power in the bottom of this to kind of finalize all that electrical we've been playing with. I wanted to make sure that whatever it was something that would move with the tower. So I put in just a couple of pieces of grating down here on the bottom out of the warehouse tab, and we're going to install a generator, get that thing wired up. So once again, thanks for stopping in. I'd like to see you again sometime. Hopefully you'll come back and see the final on the project. Hope to have it up in the next couple of days, but we'll see how that runs out for me. I've spent most of this day trying to figure out how all of this stuff worked and how it works and make it go together. But appreciate you just the same. Feel free to follow me if you are liking what you're seeing, want to see more content. I also do live streams. I'm on YouTube as jpeg_odeath and Twitter as jpeg_odeath. Thanks again to anybody who's inspired me to build. I appreciate all of you. Until next time, everybody, take care.